Hey, it's us. Welcome to another, nope, it ain't quickie. Another episode of our review of Iyanla, Fix My Life. And we're doing a 3-part series of our boys Derek and Mitchell. These are two pastors that are gay, and so they're dealing with their truths, of course, with Iyanla. You got anything to say?
No. I knew. I knew you was about to say that. I felt that little intro. So, you got anything to add? Get into it.
and there it is. Where we left off last time. Our boy Mitchell was in the bed, crying, getting tucked in by Iyanla. And so, and he just crying, just... I don't know. I forgot what he said, but he was balling enough.
But he was saying something like, he can't really, he don't think he knows how to be a man or whatever for his kids. So he was, feeling for his kids. That's understandable.
But he was feeling for himself too.
Yeah.
It was how he said it, but
he was
anyway.
He was weeping.
He was weeping.
That's what you call a weep.
He was, yeah. And so Iyanla gave him a scripture, a piece. It seemed like it was a piece of a scripture. And that's all he needed, and he was ready to go. He was back. I'm back. I feel like I can face the world. I can. I'm not ashamed to tell nobody now. So whatever. I don't know what she did, but he felt good about it. Mm-hmm. But then we go on. We go back to Derek. Yeah. And we go with him, and when we sit down with his parents. Now we know that he's told his parents and his sister about his sexuality, right. And so they sit down and she asked the mother, well, how you feel, and she's sad and disappointed. Mm-hmm. And the father, of course, the males take a little bit more, personal. He felt like, I felt like I wasn't there. Like he did, I wasn't there, or I didn't do manly things. I feel like I
would feel the same way. Like,
yeah,
he was saying like he spent a lot of time with his grandma. He spent a lot of time with his mom. So him being around all these women, maybe I should have been there a little bit more to show him how to be a man.
Yeah, he felt like I just wasn't there enough.
I wasn't there, yeah.
And so and she she asked him like, how do you feel about your son, being a homosexual? And it seemed like this was the quote of the day. He said, I always said that, I didn't care who my children were with as long as they were happy. But I didn't know one of them was end up being gay. But, that was real, He said, I don't try to backtrack my statement.
But parents say that,
yeah.
As long as you're happy, I don't care who you're with. But I think a lot of times what they are really saying is, I don't care like what color, what nationality that person is,
or what type of person it is, As long as you happy, I'm happy. But
he's like, I ain't know.
Yeah, I didn't.
He said, when I was saying that,
he was over hitting claws. He didn't know.
That, there's a possibility. But then what was weird though, when she asked him, like, before your son came out to you, did you have any idea that he might be gay? He was like, when he was about 10 or 12 years ago, I kind of had the thought.
And he was putting the dots together, that that antenna went up, he just might. Might be.
Yeah.
But and she asked also the sister, and she's like, I just don't want nobody to look at my brother or treat him a different way.
Yeah.
And that sounds like a sister statement.
That sounds just like a sibling response.
Or she don't want
him to be treated wrong or be people looking at him differently.
Yeah. Or be somewhat discriminating.
When she said that, I'm like, that sounds just like something a sibling would say.
Yeah. Yeah. And so
they really don't. Your brothers and sisters really don't care as long as you cool.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what it is, as long as you cool, they cool.
They cool.
When somebody start messing with you, that's when they.
Oh yeah. And so and then it was his time to tell him about his abuse. What happened to him?
Yeah.
He was 8 years old.
Yeah.
And he told him that he was at basketball camp. The guy searched him out you know, saw him, tore his clothes off, and he raped him, and I guess he just wanted to bury it. He didn't tell him,
right?
You know what was going on. I'm pretty sure. You know, shame came into play,
right?
And you know he didn't want to. You know, your dad's a man. Seemed like a man's man.
Yeah, your
plus
dad's
he's a cop.
Yeah.
His
dad was like, you know, I'm thankful, you know, a little bit that I didn't know about.
Yeah, he said, oh yeah.
Had I known,
it would have been heat in the city.
Yeah,
you know, and you don't know, and I think he said it was two things that he was upset about. He said, like, I was upset at the man because what he said, either like it triggered something in him to be, you know, sexually
he said,
attracted to men, or you brought something out of me that was already there.
Right.
And you know, I'm like, well, okay. You know, I guess that's, you know, in the mind of, it makes sense. You got anything else to say? I think that's all they did as far as them sitting down, right?
The only other thing that I would add to this is that when Iyanla like reiterated to the parents, even though they have their beliefs, you know, the mother was disappointed, the father was sad about their son being gay, and I feel like this is the typical response that you would get from parents. But Iyanla kind of reiterated to them that you guys did something right. When you know, not saying that their son is wrong, but it's like you should take some solace in knowing that there are many kids out here that are dealing with similar issues and have either overdosed with pills, put a gun to their head, slit their wrist. It's like something that you're teaching, or maybe what you were telling them about God or the fear of God or whatever, kept him from doing that. So you know, you guys did something right by keeping them here, and I just felt like that was worth mentioning.
And then after that, she brought both men together.
Yeah,
Mitchell and Derek, and set them down. And she asked the question. I had to read it. How do you answer the call when you preach, teach, and advance the gospel when the gospel condemns your lifestyle and as gay men?
Right.
And that
that's a valid question.
Yeah, you're basically, your truth is basically the exact opposite of what the scripture teaches.
Right.
And so I think, who was it? Mitchell said he said he said, like, I feel like I'm just free to do now that and I don't feel like God is gonna like I'm getting punished or going to hell or to that extent. He's basically free to do. That's how he felt.
I didn't understand his response. Like I remember I even rewound it to try to what is he saying? Like, I'm free now.
That was in a nutshell. He said, I'm free to do. I really don't have no conviction of my lifestyle no more.
All right.
Without, being judged by God or, feeling some type of way. I don't. Do you remember what Derek said though? I know he said two prescriptions. He's like, I know this.
Love God and then love your neighbor as yourself. That's basically all he said. He's like, I guess that's the golden rule he lives by.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's what the Pope tried to say before they.
When he was speaking out of language.
That's the thing.
That's what you recognize.
Yeah, the golden rule. Before everybody drowning out and clapping.
All right.
But that's pretty much on bringing them together, and then they went on Mitchell and Tiffany. And then, I swear, it seemed like it was, you knew it was real, but it seemed like it was so, it seemed like somebody wrote it. It was scripted. I ain't saying this was scripted. It was so beautifully, I ain't gonna say they tragedy was beautiful. I mean, but it was intense. You look at them like, what's her name? Tiffany.
Yeah.
It's like she had a few of them. You're like, those are good lines. This could be in a play. How she felt. But anyway, she told Mitchell that it was time to tell his book, chapter, and verse.
Remember, Iyanla met with Tiffany by herself.
Oh yes. Go ahead, Mike B. I mean, she brought it up.
No, Iyanla met with her. She wanted to know, like, okay, how did the conversation go when Mitchell basically came out to you? And she said, and this kind of reminds me of his response when him and Derek were together. She said, well, he came and he was saying, my understanding of hell has changed.
Yeah, yeah.
So had I had the same understanding then that I do now, then I probably would have been with a man versus being with you.
Yeah, I wouldn't even got married. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm like, do you know that was like a punch in the gut?
How did you expect her? Maybe he softened it up a little bit.
Maybe he just didn't realize what he was
saying. Like
like his clarity was. It seemed like that's something you should have said in your mind.
Yeah, but he
not
shitting on her.
He was saying it to her though.
Yeah.
Because that was his, that was his actual true thinking. But you actually hurting somebody. That's like
Yeah. No, that's like you got a gun. It ain't no punch. But then she's like, we should go to counseling or whatever. He's like, nah, ain't no fixing this. Ain't no fix. So Iyanla then she started asking about, okay, well, how long did you guys know each other before you decided to get married or whatever? And we found out that it was only 6 months. So Iyanla's kind of blaming Tiffany for not even allowing herself to get to know this man before she got, decided to marry him.
Yeah, I mean, learned, yeah.
Then she asked, okay, well, when he came out to you, it was, 5 years in the marriage. How did you feel? She was saying she was confused, she was hurt, embarrassed. And then she said she was scared for her kids. They eventually started talking about the children. And what was weird is I think Iyanla was wanting to understand, like, how did you explain this to your kids?
Yeah.
She's like, we ain't really had this conversation.
She really didn't sit him down, but I think the oldest son,
he had questions about why y'all not together, and this is supposed to be a marriage.
Like, isn't it a covenant? Why y'all split up, or and then he's like, if Dad is preaching that, isn't he a hypocrite?
Yeah, he thought it was a hypocrisy.
You're not. 1 + 1 should be 2, and it ain't adding up. Right. What's going on here between you.
She also asked Tiffany, like, okay, let's just go back to the basics. How do you feel about homosexuality?
Yeah.
And she's like, I think it's wrong.
Yeah, she don't think it's God's intent, as far as homosexuality, men being with men, of course.
Then she goes on to or Iyanla goes on to say, okay, you feel this way, he feels how he feels, but you guys need to have some type of unified, front, like a story. Y'all need to come together to be able to co-parent these kids in the right way. And then old girl was like, Tiffany, like, unified.
That's not gonna happen.
It ain't gonna happen because I believe what I believe and he believe what he believes. So.
It just ain't gonna happen.
It might work, but it ain't gonna work. And so y'all was like, hold on, like this is not making any sense.
I think she go on
she asked her about why didn't you get divorced. She asked why didn't you get divorced.
Yeah.
And then she was like, well, at first I didn't really. She asked like
she's like it was lackadaisical, or
just so nonchalant.
Maybe he, and that's maybe it's a phase that he's going through or something.
I believe that's what. Well, when they were talking, that's what I was thinking. Like she thought that this was something that he was going to grow out of. He was going to realize that he actually does love her and want to be with her.
I don't know if he grow out of.
I don't know, but then Iyanla kept. Reiterating, like, okay, so you never once tried to push for a divorce from your man, who likes men. It's not making any sense.
Yeah, and you're still in this relationship.
You're still in this relationship.
Are you listening to me when I put it plain and simple to you?
And then they eventually got on the fact that Iyanla's like, okay, well, are you in a relationship now? She was like, yes. And Iyanla was like,
so.
Wait a minute. So you mean to tell me we in here having a couple? You talking shit
about his infidelity? I mean, not infidelity, but him being gay and shit.
And then you're having an affair. You're married. You're still married. You're wrong. So she said you can't be coming to talk about him not following the Bible when you outside the teachers of God yourself. Come on now.
Like, that ain't gonna work.
That's just not how any of this works.
That's how none of this works.
It don't work like that.
And
at that point, you saw Tiffany's attitude change. Like, I ain't coming here. For that. We came here to talk about his ass.
This ain't about
how did we get on this?
I didn't say fix my lane. Goddamn.
We fixing him.
Yeah,
he wrong. She was not. Her whole demeanor.
She did get that. She
look back like. You know what? We about to go and bring y'all together.
Yes.
He got some stuff to say to you, and I thought she was going to actually have Tiffany reveal to him that she's, currently having an affair. So you wrong, she wrong.
That type of deal.
Nah, I think that's not what happened.
I think when they first came back in with Mitchell, she was basically telling her, you never really told him like how you felt. And she was like, I told him I felt hurt. He's like, no, you didn't really tell, like, you broke my heart. You didn't really give feedback. Like, everybody, you hurt me, but nah, you broke my heart. This is, and then she asked him like, how did you?
It's almost like she didn't really realize that her heart has been broken until Iyanla mentioned it. Like, you know what?
I do feel like this.
Because, then you saw, like, her emotions kind of change.
It is on the side of my stomach. I didn't know.
And then, she started to realize how she felt worthless. She felt used.
Yeah. And she said, like, she confused. She said one thing, like, I feel, it was two things. I felt confused. That okay, you love me. And you don't want to hurt me. And then, on the other hand, she said like you was comfortable enough to go ahead and cheat on me.
Yeah, you was waiting on a chance for you to get comfortable to do whatever.
You do whatever.
But then you reached that point.
And did it. And so she said I was basically like a pass. You just passing time with me. Like you said, she felt useless and like used. Right was the word.
Looking at it, it seems that way.
Yeah,
because especially when he came up with, had I known, my viewpoint on hell
has changed. I've been enlightened.
Yeah, so you can kick rocks. I'm gonna do. And then we also found out that he has already come out to his congregation, so they already know about his lifestyle. So he's living as an openly gay pastor. Yeah, and I don't think I knew that before.
Yeah, that's news to us. Yeah, and then it was time to tell Tiffany, of his infidelities, and the men he slept with, and he said the first two, he was like the first one. He said what he met.
He went on something like business trip or whatever.
And he said he went to the boss. He stayed at the boss's house.
Yeah, something. Like
and she's like, did you have an inkling or a clue of what was going on? She was like, no. She said, so that means how disconnected you were from your husband
because y'all got married after 6 months. You
didn't know this man. And then the second time he met him at a gas station, wasn't it? Or
it was like a hardware store.
A hardware store. Like the cash register.
And when they said that, I'm like, what were you doing? To where like somebody just approaches you.
It had to be some type of flirting going on. I'm sorry. Especially with two dudes, so the flirting had to be. I don't know.
You got to have like I don't know, like lipstick on. Before
in a hardware store too.
I didn't get it. I don't know.
But
anyway, and so he ended up, sleeping with that person too.
And then he said the other three were just on Craigslist, and I think that's what tipped her over the. Because the first look, she was like, And the second one, with the hardware store, she was like, I think I got a hole on my hand.
Yeah.
This is a hole.
I got a hole.
And then the third, when he said this, somebody three. Like he just went nilly-willy. I'm free. I'm gonna do what I want.
Yeah.
All
the while coming back to her. And she doesn't know anything about this. So I think if she didn't feel worthless or used before, when you just hooking up with random people you find on Craigslist.
I don't even buy shit on Craigslist, let alone.
Well, I've sold some stuff.
No, I'm talking about now. Back then it was a hot shit. Yeah. But I don't.
Yeah, now you can get killed so quick.
It ain't even
I don't even go on the website no more. But and that made her feel
she just got quiet.
The lowest of lows. She totally
shut down.
Yeah, she shut down.
You know, because that's a lot to take in. You
It
know,
is.
when you thinking something else about this man, and he's just wild with it. You know, he went Tiger Woods on him.
What is it? You know, I know Iyanla mentioned it a couple times during the episode, but now that she's hearing all of this and what he's done, what does it say about her and her judge of character? Or maybe he was a good pretender.
Manipulator.
Yeah.
Or you know, he had that mouth game. But
Inappropriate. This is a reverend.
I'm talking about, you know, talking mouthpiece.
Oh,
like
yeah.
maybe I should have said mouthpiece. Might be.
That's not right.
He was always in her head.
Yeah.
You know, sweet nothings to keep it at bay. But I don't know, man.
What's weird to me is like when we're talking to Mitchell, a lot of times it's almost like he's blissfully ignorant to how his lifestyle, not really just his lifestyle, because whether he was messing with men or women, just his infidelity affected other women, and you don't expect. I know he's human, but you don't expect this just lackadaisicalness from a pastor. You know, I'm
like
not
he wasn't
trying
concerned, really
like
concerned.
it never really
didn't
crossed
tap
his
in.
mind, like
Yeah.
and that's what's weird to me.
Well, you know, you really don't tap into rationale when you're doing wrong.
Okay,
You know.
but I would think that a pastor would try to be more rational within his wrong as to not get caught.
Hey. You know.
But anyway.
She went and then Iyanla took out the room. She like, come on, cause she just told
She wasn't saying nothing. She was like,
she just totally shut down.
Tiffany, you got to talk.
It was like
to
you
me
in
as
elementary or school.
Yeah,
You know how
she
the
wasn't
kids
saying-
are shut down.
She wasn't saying.
She wasn't saying nothing. Like, come on.
You know what? I
Let's make it
actually
up.
thought she was going to reach over and smack.
Yeah,
the
that's
shit
what I
out of
thought. That's
her.
what you know.
That would have made the episode.
Man.
epic. That's what I was waiting on. She was because I felt like she wanted to do that.
It was like that Juke House scene off Color Purple when Ray Don Charm was in Oprah's face. Yeah.
And then she knocked her out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, she had that little look like, I would have closed up my piano and went
Time to
on.
go.
I think that's why she got it up quick because it looked like,
It wasn't going to be good.
Silence speaks volumes in that type of situation.
And he was sitting there, he was waiting on whatever.
I'm like, I would have stepped down. You don't have to leave out me.
Yeah.
You can talk to
I
her.
ain't trying to get
She
punched or whatever.
I see red in her eyes. And so she took it down and we saw that. I think she finally
Started.
well, I ain't gonna say finally because this is new news.
Yeah.
But I think I think everything crashed down on her. You know, that news, it was that tipping point now. That's what it did. To make her, I think she like, I really haven't felt.
Especially the fact that she, you know, when Iyanla first asked her, like, okay, is there anything you want to know from him? Anything you want to say? She's like, no.
Nah.
Because she, I think in her mind, she's doing her own thing. She's living her own life. She ain't really worried about him.
She didn't know this dude is actually, out there.
Yeah, and it's affecting her because she hasn't actually dealt with what's going on. She hasn't dealt with how this is making her feel. She hasn't dealt with how this has actually changed who she is.
She told her that day. You know, when
I
she
know,
first
that's what I'm saying.
it seemed like she just let's keep it moving. I don't know. Maybe she didn't want her reality.
Yeah,
you know,
it's easier to just block it out.
Just block it out and see.
But if you ain't dealing with it,
it's gonna come to a head. Yeah. It's gonna come to.
How many women out there you think are actually still living like that?
Oh man, I'm pretty sure it's a lot of people live with pain. Might be.
Well, I'm not just pain. I'm talking about like in a situation like this where you
without knowing.
Yeah, or even when you know, you don't acknowledge it, you don't say anything because you don't want to have to deal with the shame or the embarrassment.
That's dealing with pain. You know, people do it other ways, but some people just block it out and try to put it back in their mind. But like Iyanla said, if you don't do that, it festers, and it takes on a form of its own, and it's bad on the body. It's stressful, man. That type of shit. But That's I think next episode
it's a conclusion.
The conclusion. I believe Derek is going to talk to his congregation coming out to them and telling them the truth. Go?
You think we're gonna see some people get up and walk out?
I think I wouldn't be surprised. I ain't gonna say they are, but I wouldn't be surprised if one or two. You know,
and you think there's gonna be some people that already like, kind of figure it. All right, now it makes sense.
I probably half of them. Okay. It'd be I'm pretty sure half of them had like, And
who was that when they showed the like what's gonna happen next week? Who was that woman that Iyanla went and got, and made confront Mitchell, and she's like, I wish I can come and smack the taste out your mouth.
That was his wife. She just had her hair down. Yeah,
that was Tiffany.
Yeah, that was her hair. She just She had a nice little,
That didn't look like
she
her.
Looked good that first day. That next day,
I'm
she heard the truth.
I said
and her hair
I'm
showed.
thinking he cheated with this woman too.
Nah.
That's what I'm thinking. I did not know that was Tiffany.
Women have nothing to offer that man.
Again.
He feel free. But nah, that's her. That's what I'm saying. That's her truth hair. She heard the truth. She like,
that's her truth. Let's move on. Her truth hair. Her truth hair. All right.
But that's it, folks. That's all we got for you. You have anything else to say, might be?
No. Truth hair.
Check us next week. We'll be back for the final episode of this trilogy. And see what happens. Till next time, folks.